Hi, welcome back to Movie Review Mom. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. You can also find me on Instagram at Movie Review Mom or under my name, Trina Boice. All right, so let's get started. The movie I'm reviewing today is called Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. It airs today on Amazon. If you don't have Amazon, click down in the description below and I have a link for a coupon for a free 30-day trial of Amazon Prime, which gets you this movie for free, as well as a ton of other movies and free shipping if you buy stuff on Amazon. Who doesn't buy stuff on Amazon? Seriously, it's the most convenient thing ever. But I digress. All right, let me tell you about this movie. The movie is rated R. It's an hour and 49 minutes. And I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell. I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as tips for parents and themes worth talking about. I'll give you recommendations, and I'll finish it off with my movie review mom grade for this. All right, you ready? So in a nutshell, Amazon Studios brings us this very action-packed military thriller named after the best-selling novel by Tom Clancy in 1993. It's taken that long to make this movie. This film adaptation has actually been in development since the 1990s. Keanu Reeves was even offered $7 million for this role, but actually turned it down. No, he would have been epic. After many years of starts and stops with different actors slated for this lead role, it's finally been announced that Michael B. Jordan will star in the leading role and that it'll be a two-part series that includes Rainbow Six, also written by Tom Clancy and directed by Stefano Sollima. So the movie is about John Clark, who's played by Michael B. Jordan. He's a Navy SEAL who goes on a path to avenge his pregnant wife's murder, only to find himself inside of a much larger conspiracy. So let me point out the things that I really liked about the movie. First of all, I thought the cast had some of my favorite actors. I love Michael B. Jordan, and he delivers a solid performance really in whatever movies he's in. I think he always goes full on, and it shows in this movie as well. He actually also produced this movie. Jamie Bell is also consistently fantastic in every movie that he's in. He and Michael B. Jordan were actually last seen together in a movie back in 2015 when they did the movie Fantastic Four. Now, toss in Guy Pearce, who's always intense, and you've got a really solid acting trio. Of course, there were other actors, but I thought those three were the standouts by far. I also thought that Guy Pearce gave an excellent performance in his recent movie called The Last Vermeer. I did a movie review of that. You can check it out on my website, moviereviewmom.com, or right here on my YouTube channel. So John Kelly, who becomes John Clark, is a character that's actually also been played by Willem Dafoe in the movie Clear and Present Danger. I love that movie. That's been one of my husband's and my favorite movie for many, many years, basically since it came out. Plus, Willem Dafoe is so great. And then Liv Schreiber also played this character in the movie The Sum of All Fears. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the book movie comparisons in just a minute, but back to the things that I liked about the movie. There's a little foreshadowing that there's some problems there. Anyway, you have to wait an entire split second before the action starts. And it's almost nonstop action in this movie. And some of the action sequences are really pretty good. There's this one car fire stunt that's super impressive, and I'd never seen anything quite like that before in a movie. It's in the trailer, so that's not a big spoiler. I don't want to give you a lot of spoilers, but here's a little tip. Keep watching during the rolling credits at the end of the movie for another scene that introduces the idea for the sequel, which will be called Rainbow Six. Now, I've read quite a few negative reviews, but this movie was not nearly as terrible as those bad reviews would lead you to believe. I was actually entertained. It's not the greatest movie ever, but I was still entertained. And I think that's in large part to the acting, to those three actors specifically. So there were some things I didn't like. The big one is, unfortunately, if you're a fan of Tom Clancy's novel Without Remorse, you're definitely going to be disappointed with this movie because it's very different from what's inside the pages of that best-selling novel. So why bother calling this movie Tom Clancy's Without Remorse if they're not even going to use the story from the novel? It's kind of weird, right? The script was written by Taylor Sheridan, who actually has done a lot of really great work. He also wrote it with Will Staples. So audiences have expected much better things since Taylor Sheridan was involved with the writing. But sadly, some of the dialogue is really dumb with lines like, I gotta get that Soviet. And then just other kind of lazy writing where actors are telling the other actors in the same scene what's happening. The other actors know what's happening, or the characters. The audience knows what's happening. So why bother saying anything? Say something more intelligent or witty, even. There isn't very much humor at all in the movie. Another thing is some of the casting is great, but then some of the casting kind of misses the mark. And sadly, that is Jodie Turner Smith specifically. She plays a former Navy SEAL and team commander. Her character is supposed to be related to James Greer from the other movies, which is a nice tie-in. And female empowerment is great, but viewers have been complaining that the movie isn't realistic and doesn't care to accurately portray the prestigious SEAL name. For example, there has never been a female Navy SEAL. Now, will there be in the future? Maybe, but this particular actress looks like she weighs maybe 90, 100 pounds, and she just doesn't seem like the right actress for the role. She felt like an actress saying lines rather than a real warrior who's been there and is leading this team of super testosterone driven men. And then another problem is that it's an entirely predictable plot that we've seen a million times before. So, in order to make this movie great, the story would have to have been told in a new, fresh way, right? Or the filmmaking should have been spectacular. But neither one of those is quite true. It's serviceable. And again, I was entertained, but it's just not epic and outstanding where I'm really going to give this movie an A. All right, there's a spoiler. I'll give you my grade in just a minute. Hold on. Then there's no real creative camera shots or angles. The characters take way more risks than the filmmakers. For example, some of the shooting sequences were just pretty basic. The choreography was good, but then it was just kind of shot in a straightforward way, nothing super surprising or outrageous or anything like that. The big reveal in Act 3 doesn't really surprise you because the characters all seem very straightforward. Again, you can see it coming a mile away, and so it doesn't have the impact that the movie sort of builds up and makes it seem like you're going to get this big payoff. So I also wondered if I was going to get to see John Krasinski do a little cameo performance, maybe as the character Jack Ryan from all of those movies. But nope, sadly, he doesn't. Drats. All right, let me give you some tips for parents because this is an R rated movie. First of all, the big tip is this is not a movie for kids. There is a lot of violence with various weapons. There's a very high dead body count, lots of profanity, people in dangerous situations, explosions. You actually see a man get run over by a car. I don't even know how they filmed that. You see a man drowned. There's lots of destruction and lots of blood and gore and guts and that kind of stuff. So really not for kids. Let me point out some themes that actually were illustrated well in the movie, and they are patriotism, revenge, justice, determination, and the greater good. Now, I mentioned there aren't a lot of funny lines in this movie, but whenever I watch movies, I always try to write down funny lines and interesting lines so that I can share them with you and you can get a taste for what the movie is like. So here's one funny line that I wrote down, and it's spoken by Karen Greer, who's played by Jodie Turner-Smith. She's that captain of the SEAL team that I was talking about. She says, "I know you're all dead now, but don't be a stranger." You'll know what I mean when you see that. Now, there were some interesting lines, and I'll share a couple of them with you. One is Michael B. Jordan was talking about what he was fighting for as a Navy SEAL, and he says, "We fought for what America could be." And I thought that that was interesting. And then finally he says, "I'm done making promises I can't keep." Okay, so with that praise and a few heads up on some missed moments, the movie review mom grade I'm giving this movie is a B. I hope you enjoy it if you like it, but let me give you some recommendations for other movies that I think you'll also really like, if you like this one especially. And actually, I thought all of them were better than this one. So first of all, going back to the Harrison Ford days, I loved Clear and Present Danger. I also loved The Sum of All Fears, and I mentioned those before. And then Patriot Games. Those are all Tom Clancy novels that are absolutely fantastic. And of course, the grand finale is The Hunt for Red October. All of those are just such great Tom Clancy novels that were turned into equally good movies. So that's the scoop. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. And I really appreciate your support. And it's so easy to offer support to help my channel grow simply by subscribing and clicking on that link. That will notify you every time I upload a new movie review or a trailer reaction. I also really appreciate all of your support over at Patreon. All right, until the next movie review or trailer reaction, I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.